All right, today we are looking at Klaw from the Fantastic Four set. He is number 29. He has the keywords aim, frightful four, masters of evil, and scientist. He has two traits. The first one is Frightful 4, Sonic Wave. Friendly characters with the Frightful 4 keyword can use energy shield deflection. So just like the other Frightful 4 characters, he does something for the rest of his team if you put him on a Frightful 4 team. So giving people energy shield deflection, that's a bump up on their defense by 2 against ranged attacks. That's pretty cool. He also has a second trait, which is Overwhelming Blast of Sound. When Klaw is KO'd, roll a d6. 4 through 6 deal 2 penetrating damage to all opposing characters within 4 squares. I usually don't like the types of traits and abilities that trigger off of your character getting KO'd because I'd rather keep my characters on the board. But it's a nice little thing to have there should he get KO'd. The 2 penetrating damage to all opposing characters within 4 squares might be enough to get rid of some of those opponents towards the end of the match. So he might be able to knock out some of the characters that would total up to more than his point value. Notice that it is opposing characters only, and they're within 4 squares. No restriction on line of fire or anything else like that. So just all opposing characters within 4 squares. He does have one special defense power, which is Barrier, Invulnerability. When Klaw uses Barrier, he may count range and draw line of fire from the square of a friendly character with the Frightful 4 keyword. And that's what I like best about this character. The way I use him is I keep him kind of in the back and let my other attackers go out there, and then he can throw up Barrier through those other characters. So it's a good way to keep him protected. He's given his Frightful 4 teammates the energy shield, and then he can also barrier out from them. Okay, let's take a look at the back of his card, and then we're going to take a quick look at some of the ways you can use him on the battlefield. All right, looking at the back of his card, he is coming in at 75 points. He has a 6 range single target. He does have the Masters of Evil team ability, which now gives you colossal stamina. So even though he doesn't have willpower, he could attack and just keep attacking and keep taking that push damage if that's the way the game plays out for you. On his power set, he's starting with a 10 movement, phase-in, 11 attack, 17 defense, and a 3 damage with range combat expert. He keeps that same power set on click 2 with his movement dropping to 9 and his attack dropping, or his damage dropping to 2. His damage will remain 2 throughout the rest of his dial. He'll pick up some run-in shot on clicks 3, 4, and 5, and that's paired up with Pulse Wave. So run-in shot, Pulse Wave, even if it is just 2 damage for a 75 point character, that's pretty good. You'll notice that he moves on his last 3 clicks to Super Senses as his defense, and then Energy Shield Deflection at the end. Overall, that's a decent attack value, starting with an 11. The Pulse Wave kind of negates a lot of your opponent's abilities, so 10 attack on Pulse Wave is not bad. And the 2 damage is fine for those Pulse Wave clicks. And if you have multiple targets, it's going to become a 1 anyway. So if you happen to be able to get a single target, you can get it to a 2. I do like his opening clicks. Like I said, I like to keep him back anyhow and use him as a barrier character. But should somebody try to close that distance and get to your back rows of your team, then you do have a 6 range with range combat expert, so you can get that 11 to a 12 with 4 damage if you need it, or with 11 being a pretty good attack value on its own, you could bump up that damage value to a 5. So just gives him a little bit extra options should you keep him back and people try to close in on him. All right, let's take a look at what he does on the battlefield. Okay, let's take a quick look at how we can use Klaw's special defense power, which is the barrier. When Klaw uses barrier, he may count range and draw lines of fire from the square of a friendly character with the Frightful 4 keyword. So in this setup, we have Klaw right here up on elevation. We have Sandman, his teammate, with the Frightful 4 keyword over here. And they're going against Iron Man, who is all the way down there. So Sandman could charge in. He has charge with a movement of 10, so he could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and charge to there, attacking Iron Man. Then Klaw could use his barrier from Sandman's square, count in range and lines of fire from here. So he could barrier up these two squares. Cutting off the adjacency, so Iron Man would not be able to just close attack Sandman there. And we could actually just barrier up Iron Man. Of course, if he flies, he can get out of that, but if it was a non-flyer, you could barrier up that way. Okay, let's take a look at one more example of how you can use Klaw's barrier. In this example, we have his teammate Sandman and the Wizard. The opponent is Grizzly over here. Now, Wizard flies, and he has sidestep. But he could fly and carry Sandman. So he could take an action and just fly over there. We could go as far as we want, but we could leave a little bit of a buffer here. So we could fly Wizard, carrying Sandman for an attack next turn. But there, even though Sandman wouldn't be able to do a costed action this turn, and Wizard already took an action this turn, Klaw can still use his barrier, so he could take an action to activate barrier through one of his Frightful 4 teammates' squares. So if the idea is we want to close distance on Grizzly and then attack him next turn, we can lock him down this turn by barriering from Sandman square, but Klaw is the one doing the barrier. So we could barrier all around and then end our turn. Next turn then the barrier would go away. Sandman then could charge in and do his attack. So there's lots of different ways that you can use Klaw's barrier to your advantage. Hopefully this gives you just a couple ideas and gets you thinking about different ways you can work that into your team build and different strategies you can use with it. Check it out. If you dig what we do, go ahead and like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.